And good morning, guys. Welcome back to the channel. Back with the Wandering Mariner. It is a Wednesday. So today we're going to talk a little bit about just what you should be thinking about if you are thinking about joining the Merchant Marine. Because there are certain psychological aspects of being a Merchant Mariner that I kind of want to talk about today. Because your personality and how you do out on ship kind of depends on certain aspects of your personality, and certain parts are very exciting. Like if you have these traits, you're going to be a great fit. Some of these traits you might not have, and you might need to work on some of your social skills or ability to become like more outgoing. So let's talk a little bit about it. So first I want to talk about, like, are you open to new experiences? Because when you are in the Merchant Marine, initially you're going to get a lot of new experiences in life. As the years go by, you're like, okay, I've done this before. I've done this mission before. I've done this type of operations. I've done these port visits. We've loaded here. We've discharged here. And you kind of learn the ins and outs, and it becomes more of a routine. But at first, it's a real uphill battle to kind of gather all this stuff. And are you the type of person that likes doing new activities? Because if you're not, that could be a sign that maybe this isn't for you, because you have to constantly learn new things. Every time you go to a new boat, they do things a little bit different. They do things, seamanship is seamanship, but every ship is a bit different. So, are you creative in the way you do things? Like learning, like, especially as like a deck seaman, like tying knots. There's a difference between when you go to school and you learn how to do something to the time when you get out to the fleet. They're like, this is how we do this here. And sometimes it takes a little creativity. As you become the more seasoned person, people are going to be looking to you to how to do things. So you're not always going to be the new guy, and you got to have kind of a creative personality to kind of make things happen and make things work sometimes, because you're going to come up to scenarios where things aren't perfect and you're going to have to figure it out. And if you have a good creativity in your mind, it'll be beneficial. Are you really good at following plans and making plans? So are you really good at setting a timeline for yourself and sticking to that timeline and working? Because on ship, there is a lot of regimentalness to it. There is a set way of doing certain jobs, and you got to follow it step by step, especially if you're a mechanic, or even if you're on deck and you're operating equipment, following each safety step along the way. And if you're a kind of person that's like, close enough, horseshoes and hand grenades, that doesn't necessarily work out on board ship. You got to be very meticulous, and you have to take care not to make mistakes. And mistakes do happen, but you don't want them to happen for yourself. And you never want to make the same mistake twice. But you have to be very meticulous to safety standards and to what you're doing. And it's very easy out on deck to get unfocused sometimes. So it's always important. Are you the type of person that can really drill down and focus and make sure that you do things with attention to detail and so forth? Personality-wise, do you get along with other people? Do you feel energized with new people? If you do, then you're probably a good fit for kind of the Merchant Marine life, because you're going to be meeting new people when you check aboard a ship. And if you're kind of this introvert and you don't want to go into social evolutions with other people, Merchant Marine field, even though there is a lot of solitude in it, like there's times when you're out on deck working by yourself and you're looking at the water or the ocean and you're just like, man, this is quiet. Or at night, you're alone, in your room, and there's a lot of peace and tranquility to it, but also you have to be able to engage and work with other people and conversate with other people and get along with other people. Are you comfortable speaking to groups of people and eventually leading? Because you could become a merchant mariner and be just the entry-level guy. You could be a steward utility and just take orders from everybody and never grow. But everybody that's out here is kind of trying to level up their game, level up their license, their documents, their credentials, their training, their experience. So as time goes on, you're going to become a leader. Now, a lot of people, when they first think about getting into the merchant marine, they're like, I want to be an officer. I don't want to take orders from others. I want to be in charge. Well, you are in charge when you're a junior officer, but really you're still kind of learning a lot. You might be in charge of set evolutions, but for the most part, you spent 4 years of your education getting that training and experience. If you came in as unlicensed, you could be what we call house pipers, where you could come in and get the experience out on deck and get your license and be at that same level. So there is an upward mobility either way, whether you go to college to become a merchant mariner or whether you go through the house pipe. And neither one is better than the other. It's just kind of the way that you start your journey with the merchant marine if you decide to do it. But you got to be comfortable in speaking up, and if you see something wrong, being able to say, hey, I think that's a problem, and pointing things out. Now, you don't want to be pointing out everything and just, you got to have solutions to the problem, but if you see something, you can't be afraid to say something. And okay, so are you good at prioritizing and helping others with work and getting stuff done on time? And there is a lot of time schedules when it comes to the merchant marine. If you are not good at getting out of bed in the morning, then the merchant marine might not be for you. There's a set timeline when you're on ship and you are getting out on deck to arrive or depart different ports. You have all these duties and responsibilities. And a lot of the time, your body clock is not in adjustment with the ship's operational clock. So sometimes you got to be able to prioritize your time and make sure that you're out on deck on time, and things are just, if you're good at keeping time and being where you're supposed to be, then great. But if you have a problem with punctuality, merchant marine might not be for you. Working with other people, and are you an empathetic person? When you see other people struggling to get work done, are you the type of person that will help them? Or you'd be like, that's them, and you just walk away. Empathy, having an empathetic personality on the ship and being able to help your shipmates out is super important. And there's a story that, I was on one of my first boats as a merchant seaman, and I had experience with the Navy. And in the Navy, like, you get assigned to different working parties and whatnot. And as you get into certain positions, you don't do those working parties anymore because you got more seniority or whatever, unless it's an all-hands event. But I remember I was on this one boat, and the bosun Ken's like, hey, go up there and help them load the stores, the cook load the stores. And I'm like super brand new. Like, I've been on the boat like 2 hours. And I'm like, I'm a deck seaman. I'm like, is that my job? Because, like, military sea lift command, you have definitive job titles of what you do. Like, the steward department loads most of the stores unless you're operating booms or cranes. Well, it was a small boat. Ken goes, do you eat? Go help load the freaking food. And I'm like, duh. All right, yeah, let me get to it. So, but working with other people and helping them out, because you're one crew, one screw, that's the way it works. Do you feel anxious or nervous or stressed by minor issues in life? If you do, the merchant marine field might not be for you, because there is small things that happen every day and you'll be just like, Jesus, what can it be next? If you don't adapt well to change, and you don't adapt well to just dealing with the small stuff, then being out on ship might not be for you. And, everybody talks about the merchant marine, and you get a chance to travel, and you're going to make a lot of money, and there's all these opportunities. But your ability to get along with your crew, because it's not about you. Yes, you're out there as a merchant seaman. You're a army of one, sometimes. But you're going to be very dependent on your shipmates day to day. And, you might say, well, I'm a steward. I don't care about the rest of the crew. I just feed the crew. That's my job. Well, when your toilet breaks and you need an engineer to come fix your toilet, trust me, you're going to wish that you were better at communicating and getting along with your crew members, because they might not prioritize that job if you're kind of a doofus, So it's important that you're able to get along and deal with the small stuff. And trust me, things like showers not being operable, toilets being broken, toilets overflowing, pipes breaking, things like that happen on a ship. And I'm not going to say all the time, but I've seen it over the years where your quality of life can get shrunk down really quick when all of a sudden your toilet don't work and you got to walk up 2 decks to go use the bathroom. And you're like, well, that's small stuff. Yeah, but when you wake up in the middle of the night and you got to use the bathroom, now it's not small stuff. Little things like that. And if they really get your goat and you're not able to adapt with issues, the merchant marine might be just things that you might need to improve on, And also, do you worry about the future all the time? Or are you always reminiscing or ruminating about the past? Like those type of things, you got to be in the now. And it doesn't matter if you're in the merchant marine or just in life. Being in the now, and this is one thing that I struggle with because I'm always thinking about the future. I'm always thinking about what's my next step, where am I going? And sometimes you got to really enjoy the moment where you're at, and you got to be focused at where you're at. Because if you spend your 4 months on ship just thinking about, I can't wait till I get home, I just want to get home, I just want to get home, it's going to be a long 120 days. Now, the 120 days of Military Sea Lift Command, that's your assigned time to the ship. I've been on ships where I was assigned for 120 days, and I didn't get off till like 290, because COVID and other things that kind of happened along at those times. But it can happen. You can get delayed on your returns home. And there is a lot of things that they don't talk about in these videos to you guys that are thinking about the merchant marine, because we all remember the good parts. We don't talk about the bad things in our day all the time. But I think it's important on these videos that I do for you guys and share with you that I kind of explore and express to you like my personal issues that I've had on ship. Because if I tell you it's all sunshine and rainbows and you get out there, you're just going to be more disheartened. And I often get a lot of questions about, previously I had mental health issues and I'm thinking about joining, but I'm wondering if that'll stop me. Well, it might not stop you from joining the Merchant Marine, but I want you to at least think about your own lifestyle and why you were having those mental health issues. And are you going to have those mental health issues again in maybe an environment that you didn't understand how it was? Because again, a lot of times people will think about being on a ship is this solitude and that like you're out there alone and you're doing this, that, and the other, working. But a lot of times you're moving cargo, you're working, you're hustling, you're shuffling. It's all shipboard focused. Whatever the mission is, that's what everybody's mission should be. So just wanted to share that with you. I hope you guys have a great day. Make sure you like the videos. It helps out the algorithm, helps me. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already a subscriber. Hit the notifications so you can see when my next video is out, and we'll hit you on the next one, guys. Have a great day. Peace.